Welcome to the Deconstructionist Deep Dive, the podcast that doesn't just accept the story.
We break it
We examine the pieces.
and expose the machinery inside.
Let's dive in.
What if the search for a universal truth isn't a path to enlightenment, but the most dangerous intellectual cage of all?
Welcome. You're here for a deep dive where we're not just, exploring ideas, we're dissecting them with precision.
That's right. Today we're taking on, well, a giant, Joseph Campbell. His huge ideas on mythology. We're digging into them using our source, Joseph Campbell's Mythology, sourced by the Deconstructionists.
And our goal here isn't just to tell you what Campbell said. No, we want to peel back the layers.
Understand the machinery of his thought, expose the assumptions underneath.
And maybe see the vulnerabilities, right? The things that make these ideas work on us. So powerful.
We're here to challenge the story, deconstruct the dogma, basically help you see the system.
So get ready. You might need to question what you thought you knew about myths, heroes, maybe even your own inner journey.
Think of this as building up your mental immune system, giving you the tools.
Okay, let's get into it. Some of Campbell's big ideas will lay out the concept, talk about why it's so appealing.
And then we turn the scalpel on it, show the vulnerabilities, the assumptions, our source flags.
And I'll keep asking, why does this stuff stick? What's the hook?
First up, gods as psychological projections. Campbell's core idea, really. All gods, he says, are just projections of us. Human potential, inner forces, nature, not actual external beings.
It's us looking in a mirror, basically.
Exactly.
And that sounds, well, incredibly empowering, right? Divinity isn't out there, it's in here. Sounds freeing.
It does sound freeing. But here's the immediate critique from our source. This isn't presented as a theory, it's presented almost as fact. And it's based on a fundamentally atheistic, materialist assumption.
Okay.
It completely dismisses the lived experience, the phenomenological experience of people who genuinely feel the divine is external. It assumes its own conclusion right from the start.
So it's saying your deep spiritual feeling, that's only psychology. It's telling, not asking, dictating reality.
Pretty much. It explains away the experience instead of maybe exploring it on its own terms. Okay, next big idea. Metaphor versus literalism.
Ah, yes, the fatal error. Campbell warns against taking myths like, say, someone ascending to heaven as literal history.
Right. The message is psychological, he says. Famously, the menu is not the meal.
And this feels sophisticated, like you're unlocking a secret code in these old stories. It makes you, the interpreter, feel smart, like you see the real meaning.
But the vulnerability, our source points out, this kind of sets Campbell up as the ultimate interpreter, the high priest of correct interpretation.
Who gets to decide what's really metaphor and what isn't?
Exactly. You risk swapping out one kind of literalism, maybe religious literalism, for another kind of authority figure, the authority of the expert mythologist.
So you think you're escaping rules, but maybe you're just signing up for a new set. More intellectual, maybe, but still rules.
Could be. It's a subtle shift in who holds the interpretive power. Okay, let's move to another core idea, mythology as social control.
This one feels very modern. Campbell suggests myths are basically created to glue a society together, to validate its structure, coordinate people.
And define who's in the group and who's out.
Yeah, that resonates. We see how stories shape communities, justify power. It seems like a clear, almost sociological explanation.
But the source material suggests this might overplay the top-down control aspect.
Yeah.
It sees it as a very Foucaultian power-knowledge thing, knowledge-serving power.
Meaning it frames myth mainly as a tool used by the powerful to keep things the way they are. Hegemony.
Right. And in doing so, it might miss myths that bubble up from below. Myths of resistance, subversion. Think about trickster figures. They often challenge the social order. They don't just uphold it.
So a powerful lens, but maybe a bit too cynical, a bit one-sided. It misses the rebellious streak in myths.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It emphasizes control, maybe at the expense of creativity or resistance. Okay, one more for this section, the two types of religion.
Outward versus inward. Campbell often made this distinction.
Yeah, like biblical traditions being outward, focus on the group social rules, and things like Buddhism or meditation being inward, focus on finding the divine inside yourself.
And that division is really appealing for a lot of people. It clarifies things. Am I about external rules or internal experience? It helps people find their path, what feels authentic.
But again, the vulnerability flagged by our source. It's a false binary, a neat split that reality doesn't quite match.
How so?
Well, think about it. So-called outward religions often have incredibly deep mystical inward traditions. Christian mystics, Kabbalah in Judaism, it's all all there.
Okay, fair point.
And conversely, inward religions. They often develop complex social structures, hierarchies, rules. Think of monasteries, lineages. It's not just purely individual.
So it's a useful way to categorize, maybe, but it draws too sharp a line. It ignores the messy middle where things overlap.
Exactly. It commits that fallacy of the excluded middle. Reality is usually more integrated, less either. It's a tempting simplification, but it might obscure more than it reveals.
All right, we've unpacked the core ideas and their immediate vulnerabilities. Let's take a break from the initial dissection.
Right. Now we need to bring in some contrasting systems, really hammer these ideas and see how universal they actually are.
Let's shatter that illusion of universality. How do these Campbellian concepts hold up when you put them side by side with other ways of thinking?
Okay, let's revisit gods as projections. That idea that it's all just psychology, internal stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's not exactly new thinking. As our source points out, it strongly echoes 19th century German idealism, particularly Feuerbach. It's a well-established philosophical position, materialism, basically.
But how is it challenged?
Directly. By, for instance, the phenomenology of religion thinkers like Mircea Eliade. They argue the experience of the divine, the sacred, is fundamental, irreducible. It's not just psychology. Eliade called it hierophany, the manifestation of the sacred.
And what about other cultures?
That's where post-colonial theory comes in. It exposes the projections idea as potentially a very Western, very privileged viewpoint. It dismisses indigenous worldviews, where gods or spirits are absolutely real, active agents in the world, not just metaphors in people's heads. It imposes a Western materialist frame onto everyone else.
So it's not objective observation. It's a specific cultural lens claiming universality.
Pretty much. Okay, let's revisit metaphor versus literalism. That hierarchy of interpretation, the enlightened few get the metaphor, the masses are stuck with the literal.
Right, the high priest idea we talked about.
Our source draws a striking parallel here. This structure. It looks a lot like ancient Gnosticism.
Gnosticism.
Secret knowledge. Exactly. The Gnostics believed salvation came through secret knowledge, gnosis, available only to an elite few. Campbell's framework, viewed critically, can seem like a modern version. The mythologist holds the secret key to meaning.
And how is that challenged?
Well, Wittgenstein's philosophy of language offers a counter. He'd argue meaning is use. If a community uses and believes the literal meaning, then that is its meaning and its truth within that context. There isn't necessarily some deeper metaphorical truth waiting to be uncovered by an expert.
So the expert doesn't get the final say on meaning.
Not necessarily. And deconstruction, think Derrida, would go even further. It would argue the whole binary metaphor versus literal is unstable. It's itself metaphorical. The interpreter isn't finding the meaning, they're just replacing the text's authority with their own interpretive authority.
Okay, that's meta. Let's go back to myth as social control. The idea that myths primarily exist to keep society in line.
Yeah, the Foucaultian lens focused on power. Our source notes this resonates with a kind of cynical realism, almost Machiavellian statecraft, where power and control are the main drivers.
But what's the counterargument?
We'll look at anarchist theory. Thinkers like Kropotkin highlighted myths and stories focused on mutual aid, cooperation, solidarity, things that explicitly challenge state power and hierarchy, not just reinforce it.
So myths aren't always about control from the top down.
Exactly. And even Foucault himself, later on, nuanced his view. Power isn't just repressive, he argued. It's also productive. It actually creates the categories we use, like self, society, myth. So it's not just about control. It's about constructing the very reality we inhabit through these narratives.
Deeper than just social glue, then. It's world building.
In a way, yes. Finally, let's revisit that outward versus inward religion split.
The clean binary. Social group versus inner journey.
Our source suggests this split reflects a very Western problem. The Cartesian mind-body split. That division between inner thought and outer world that's haunted Western philosophy for centuries.
And non-Western views might not see it that way?
Precisely. Think about Taoism, the Tao, the natural order that's outer, and Qi, the inner energy. They're seen as a continuous flow, interconnected, not separate realms.
No split.
No split. Or look at many indigenous worldviews. Community ritual, that seems outward, and personal vision quests or spiritual experiences, inward, are often seen as two sides of the same coin. Both are essential for balance, healing for the whole community and the individual. It's integrated.
So that clean split Campbell offers, it might be projecting a specifically Western philosophical problem onto all religious experience.
It's a definite possibility. The binary breaks down when you look globally.
Okay, we've hammered the ideas against other systems. Now,
Uh-huh.
Let's go for the detonation.
Right. Maximum impact. Expose the core deceptions. What are they really doing? Who benefits? And what does it cost you?
This is where we show the levers, the hidden hands, why these narratives are so persuasive. Deception number one, the projection lie.
This is the idea we started with your spiritual awe. It's only psychology. Our source calls this classic reductionism and materialist presupposition.
Okay, so what's its power source? Where does it get its authority?
Largely from the modern secular academy and scientific materialism. It benefits the new priesthood intellectuals, psychologists who get to be the arbiters of what's real. Our source even compares it to Soviet state atheism in its function, dismissing the spiritual as mere illusion.
And a cost, the freedom lens view.
Swallow this poison, as the source puts it, and you hand over authority over your own deepest experiences. Your awe becomes just chemicals. Your love, just evolution. You risk being reduced to a machine, stripping away mystery and depth.
Oof. Okay, deception two, the priesthood of interpretation.
This is the metaphor versus literal trap again. It's an appeal to authority and esotericism. It creates an elite who get it, who hold the secret key.
And who benefits there?
The intellectual class. The gurus, the coaches, the academics who can now sell you the correct interpretation of everything, including your own life. Our source bluntly calls it Gnosticism repackaged.
The freedom lens, the cost of your autonomy.
Embrace this, and you're just swapping authorities. You trade the priest for the professor, the guru for the therapist. You're still kneeling, just maybe before a bookshelf instead of an altar. Your mind isn't free. It's just been recolonized by a different, maybe fancier dogma.
Right. Now, deception number, what is this, 3? The bliss bait, connected to follow your bliss.
Ah, yes, the famous one. Sounds so liberating.
Yeah.
But the source labels this individualist narcissism and depoliticization.
Strong words. What's the power source?
Consumer capitalism, argues the source. It benefits a system that needs you focused on your personal journey, your brand, your self-fulfillment, not on collective problems or political action. It's like the Protestant work ethic remix for neoliberalism.
Yep.
Your job is to optimize yourself.
And the danger, the cost.
Swallow this, and you become the perfect worker bee for the system. Self-motivating, chasing your own tail for fulfillment, potentially ignoring wider issues. You risk becoming, as the source says, self-regulating and utterly alone.
Focusing inward while the world burns, potentially. Okay, final deception. The neutral scholar mask.
It's subtle, but crucial. It's presenting a specific viewpoint as objective fact, a concealed value judgment. The mythologist claims neutrality but embeds their own biases, Western, materialist, psychological, into the analysis.
Who benefits from that mask of neutrality?
Primarily the mythologist himself, like Campbell. It presents his specific, culturally bound interpretation as universal, objective, comparative science. Our source draws a parallel to 19th century colonial anthropology, which claimed objective study while implicitly ranking cultures with Europe at the top.
And the freedom lens on this one.
If you accept the neutral scholar mask without question, you don't even see the ideology you're absorbing. It becomes invisible. And that, the source argues, is the most dangerous cage, the one you don't even realize you're in, believing it's just open sky.
Wow. Okay, we've pulled it all apart now. The synthesis. What's the ultimate deception here?
Let's put the pieces back together. The ultimate deception woven through all these threads is the idea that mythology, especially as framed by Campbell, is this benign, natural system just for understanding ourselves and achieving harmony.
A comforting fairy tale about stories.
Exactly. But our source argues mythology is, and always has been, a primary weapon. It's the software loaded onto the human brain to control behavior, justify power, and crucially, to mask the terrifying randomness of existence with neat, orderly narratives.
And Campbell's system
is not an escape from this. It's the latest upgrade. Sophisticated, user-friendly, with that appealing follow your bliss interface, but potentially still functioning to make you a willing, managed participant in the system.
So now we see the architecture of the prison. We've mapped the walls, the towers, heard the warden's soothing voice.
This analysis isn't just academic. It's meant to be a lockpick, a blueprint for cognitive revolt. Your mind is the territory they want to colonize.
So the call to action isn't just understand Campbell. It's more rebellious.
The source urges you. Don't just follow your bliss, follow your rage.
Rage.
Rage at the comforting lies. Rage at the authorities who peddled them. Rage at the voices inside you that still repeat them. Use that critical energy.
To do what?
To break the icons, metaphorically speaking, not to build new ones in their place. Reject all the priests, gurus, interpreters who claim final authority over your experience.
Your experience is your own. Your meaning is your own.
Your life is your own. Burn down the mental prisons. Your mind is the one thing they can't truly own unless you hand it over.
Stop giving it away.
And that's our deep dive for this week.
Remember, the most dangerous illusion is the one you don't know you're in.
But now you know. So here's our question for you.
So we've torn apart the idea of the universal guru. Now the real question is, what is the one idea you've held on to, maybe without even realizing it, that you're finally ready to put on the chopping block to really examine?
Let us know in the comments.
Question the narrative.
Deconstruct the dogma.
See the system.
We'll see you next time. Stay skeptical.